Welcome back to Cardcore Gamer, and today I'm talking about getting out and about to gaming events. In my video where I interviewed Phil at Spirit Games, he mentioned a couple of the local meetups, so I've been to them. First up, there was Beer and Pretzels, which is the biggie. That's the gaming weekend. It happens over 3 rooms with loads of people and loads of different games being played. It's a fantastic event, full of fun and just everything going on. But that wasn't enough to sate my hunger for cardboard and dice. So I was invited to go to Raiders of the Games Cupboard, which is a quarterly meetup in the same town. It's a slightly smaller scale, but there's still plenty of people and plenty of things going on. While I was there, I locked the organisers in a room and threatened them with never sending them home again until they answered my questions. This is what they had to say.
The whole thing started as a conversation in one of the local pubs, as these things do.
Unfortunately, somebody there was actually sober. And
I think a couple of people was, and they remembered, so that we had to actually organise it. So that Christmas was the first event.
Didn't have any heating, as I remember.
No, that Christmas back.
No Christmas heating.
Yeah,
no, and there was a small kitchen, and we had the cooker. Everything was on. And there were people sort of going in, huddling in the kitchen to get warm and then coming back out playing some games. So it was an interesting start, wasn't it?
It was. We did actually think, what have we let ourselves in for?
Yeah, we get a really good mix of games coming to this event. And we've had, I think, about 2 or 3, about a year ago, we got like an entire family just came from small children right up to granny, and they just sat at the table and played games all day, which was absolutely fantastic.
That was the Melton
Mowbray, because that's the other thing. We get people coming from quite a distance to this event. I think mostly because we're family friendly. We welcome children. The only thing that we stipulate if they're minors that somebody has to be here to supervise them, and we do get a good mix. And consequently, we then have a really good mix of games as well. So we get everything from the sort of nice, suitable for the smaller adults and quite fun for the adults to play, right up to the complicated strategy games that can take all day. When we first started, we were playing quite a lot of Arkham Horror, which was a very core game to this event for a good number of years, I think.
But quite an involved one as well.
Yes, and. In fact, he was mad enough to play 2 of them back to back in one day, which was total madness. But
that's appropriate.
It's rather appropriate. We've got the certificate to prove it as well.
I do actually have my own personal certificate that says I'm insane. But what I found was it was very useful, because lots of people said that they either wanted to learn how to play Arkham or they weren't 100% sure of the rules. Effectively, it almost became like a tutorial teaching session. People say, can you explain this rule, or am I playing this correctly? And running it, in fact, I think I sold quite a few copies of that, effectively. So I turned into a bit of an Arkham salesman.
Yeah, so Phil did well out of that.
So running that game sort of attracted more people to the group to sort of play that and then branch out to other games? Or?
Yeah, it attracted them more to playing it, learning it, brushing up on the rules and things like that. But we haven't run them for ages. Maybe I ought to organise one for Christmas time.
Well, we keep talking about it. We did arc ourselves to death a bit on the first few years of running this. But so and then quite often people now say some of the larger groups that come quite regular. We've got quite a few regulars now. They'll come and buy the latest games from Spirit, and then you'll see them punching and playing it, and then taking it home. So that's worked out quite well.
So has any other game taken the place of Arkham, or is it just diversified from there?
I think it's just diversified. I think because we kind of felt that was taking up at least half of our day, which meant we weren't able to sort of interact with other people, and it tied up the 2 of the organising team, which meant we couldn't be available for helping other people out finding games. So we've tended to run more smaller games.
There has actually been a bit of a replacement, actually. It's Kingsburg. I've seen a lot of Kingsburg being played over the last few events.
That's true. Not by us, but
not by us. No. We've diversified onto other games, but you see a lot of people turning up to play Kingsburg, Small World, and one of if Jim's here, is Toon.
Toon, yes, it's
Toon
another
definitely
favourite.
plays a lot, but you see, it's one of those where you need the time.
Yeah.
You need the time, you need the gamers. Once you
And
got
table
that,
space.
table space. We did have Battlestar Galactica a lot. That was definitely a favourite because what we did was we had a friend turn up, Laurie, very, very good at knowing the rules. And the great thing about it was he would effectively, a bit like we did with Arkham, almost GM it. So you just got a load of people round the table and you could just sit there, play the game and then go, this is great, oh, I don't know this rule, what's this rule, clarify it. So actually you learnt the game as well. But of course the problem with Battlestar is, if you're the Cylon, you need to say, I don't play this, but I'm not a Cylon, honestly. But I can't remember what the rules are for being a Cylon, so it's a bit problematic.
Yeah, so I think going on from what I said before, I think it's quite a good event for people to learn new games because there's bound to be somebody that turns up that's played a new game or just bought it, or even just learning it on the day sometimes with other experienced gamers that can help you sort of, because a lot of mechanics are very similar between games, so it can be easy to sort of help guide through a new game. And
I've definitely found that because there's been some games I've even just looked around and just gone, you know what, actually I either want to learn to play it or I own it and I just don't understand the rules. So it's not like we're experts in games, we also find games that people buy.
yeah.
Well, I've definitely found that myself because I ran my first sort of little gaming event in Derby the other week. There was only about sort of 20 people there.
Yeah.
But from other people playing one of the games that I've played a lot, they actually found a rule that I've missed every single time. So I think even games I've played loads, there's every so often you'll find a rule that you totally didn't notice.
Some games can be very rule intensive and
sometimes it's just a sentence or two, isn't it? And it's very easy to sort of be snowblind to it, and you always skip it because
interpretation's always a
yeah. But then again, events like this and larger events is a good place to then just learn and watch and pick up on things like that. Yeah. And I think the other thing that works for us is we've managed to keep the entry fee at £2 for the last since its inception. So it's like 6 years now. So and we've managed to do that by finding halls that don't charge as much money, which is also the flip side, because if we would want to change the size of this event for two reasons. One, this size works. It's getting very popular now. We're getting much more consistent levels of attendance, whereas in the early years, like during the summer months, things would tend to tail off. But now we're getting like a steady number of people throughout the year, which is good for us. And we're always getting new people, which is fantastic to see. Yeah. We've got our regulars, but like every event, that we always see new faces, which is brilliant.
We tend to find that most of them have come through the shop because it seems to almost be like the nexus point of all gamers is Spirit Games. So everyone that comes through there eventually almost ends up here. So that does work really well, the shop. Because we have tried advertising.
We've tried wider advertising, but
and it just doesn't seem to work.
So it's just a sort of a few key websites and just leaflet dropping on Spirit Games is enough, and then word of mouth does the rest.
So as you will have noticed in that interview, I've started up my own event. It's called D6 Plus Beer, and it's a monthly concern held above a local pub. My local pub, in fact, because what's better than drinking decent booze and playing great games with people you like? Now, what I wanted this video to really touch on is things about how you can make your own event and how you can get your own concern started. First thing, Facebook. Look on Facebook and you will find all sorts of people who want to play games or might be interested in games. Secondly, you need to find a location, and locations are actually really easy. A lot of places like pubs or sort of community centres and stuff may have a little room that they'll actually allow you to use for free. This is especially true for places like pubs and restaurants and so on, because if you've got a bunch of people there, they'll be going and spending money at the bar. We get the room upstairs at our place for free, completely free, which is wonderful, for that simple fact that people spend money. So ask around, find a decent sized venue. Now, you'll be able to run probably 2 or 3 big games at once if you get a place with a decent sized room, but it's worthwhile having a look at the room and seeing if you've got decent tables that you can put together. And the other thing is, have a mess around. Organising the room is important. The room we've got looks like this, but once I'm done with it, it looks like this. So as you can see, we've got 3 decent sized playing areas. I mean, that'll be like, well, 15-20 people's worth, and it often is. Other things, tell people way in advance and keep reminding them, otherwise they simply won't show up. Make sure it's on a night of the week when people are generally free. We go for Friday nights, end of the week, a bit of a relax and a bit of fun. It works beautifully. Weirdly, these things almost always seem to happen on a Thursday. I don't know why Thursday's the busy day. Finally, and this is possibly the most important, where your venue is kind of really important as to who will go. Setting ours in a pub was a great plan, but you do need to be careful of your local drinking laws and the age of the people who are coming along. You've got to make sure that people have got, you know, eyes everywhere, because if you're not careful, there will be some people who chance it and you might end up with some people sort of underage drinking, and if that happens, you can say goodbye to your venue, and you can also see a lot of angry parents coming your way. So just bear in mind that the type of venue you're at will have its restrictions on who will be able to come along. It's worked out for us fine because we've got a decent bunch of people with level heads, but it just takes one person being stupid and you've ruined it for everybody. So, in other words, an event it's only as good as the time you put into it, and it's only as good as the people who come along. But if you pitch it right, if you set it in the right place, on the right day of the week, at the right sort of attitude as well, people will flock to it, and it'll be fun, it'll be great. And quite often, it won't cost you a flipping penny. So, that was my take, and that hopefully will help you in setting up your own gaming event. If not, there may actually be 1 or 2 going on already. As I've previously mentioned, these things are surprising. I mean, just in our local area, there seems to be like 4 different games groups. I'm currently seeing if there's any sort of way of trying to sort of collect them together into one sphere rather than having them bitting and bobbing, but we'll see. Anyway, I hope this was useful, or at least entertaining or informative, and I will see you again next time. Thank you for watching.